Fox News host Jeanine Pirro invited on Steve Emerson, who is the executive director of the investigative project on terrorism. That sounds like a intelligent organization, but it's not, as you're about to see. And what these people did is they fear-mongered about places all over Europe where apparently they say non-Muslims are banned from going.
All right, Steve, my last guest told us some chilling details about these no-go zones. What more can you tell us about these zones, Steve?
Well, these no-go zones exist not only in France, but they exist throughout Europe. They're sort of amorphous. They're not contiguous necessarily, but they're sort of safe havens. And they're places where the governments like France, Britain, Sweden, Germany, they don't exercise any sovereignty. So you basically have zones where Sharia courts are set up, where Muslim density is very intense, where the police don't go in, and where it's basically a separate country almost, a country within a country.
You know what it sounds like to me, Steve? It sounds like a caliphate within a particular country.
Well, it certainly does sound like that. It's almost the prescription that they're asking Israel to do, which is to set up a separate state within their own states. Except they're not recognizing it, and they're not dealing with it because they don't want to. I got into a tweet fight with the French ambassador who denied that there are any such things as no-go zones, except on the French, official website it says there are, and it actually has a map of them. So, and in Britain, it's not just no-go zones. There are actual cities like Birmingham that are totally Muslim, where non-Muslims just simply don't go in.
I can't believe... I can't believe Fox News is still on the air, man. Let's take a look if that's true. He says in Birmingham, non-Muslims aren't even allowed in. Birmingham, England is, in fact, 22% Muslim. So the overwhelming majority is non-Muslim. But he says Muslims aren't allowed in. God, Fox News is incredible. They make up an alternate reality in their minds, and then they live in that alternate reality. So naturally, Twitter pounced on this, and they did a hashtag Fox News Facts to mock these idiots. And I want to give you some of them because they're so great. One of them said, "I was supposed to go to Birmingham last week, but I forgot my passport." Hashtag Fox News Facts. Another one said, "The city is now called Birmingham because ham is not halal." Another says, "Birmingham has a chain of fast food restaurants called Burger King." You get it? Another says, "Nottingham is 98% Jedi." Hashtag Fox News Facts. And my favorite, "Fox News has a higher percentage of Muslim shareholders than Birmingham has of Muslim residents." Hashtag Fox News Facts. Hashtag real facts. And that's true. It's Prince Alawid bin Talal who owns a very significant chunk of Fox News. So they always have a way of getting stupider and stupider every single day. I didn't think it was possible, but they do it. And also, look, in closing on this real quick, like, it's not wrong to be concerned about fundamentalist religion anywhere in the world, because fundamentalist religion is crazy. And it's not like there aren't pockets of fundamentalism in Europe. There definitely is, and that's definitely a problem. Like, we saw the Vice story. We covered it on this show, but they did a great in-depth thing where they went to Germany to look at the anti-Muslim protests. And the protests were just, it was neo-fascists, like crazy people, far right, who were protesting against Muslims. So those people were crazy and undesirable, and I don't want to align myself with them in any way, shape, or form. But then also, they did go and speak to some of the people that the far-right people were protesting, and they were extreme. a lot of them were fundamentalist Muslims who walked around in Germany with these shirts on that said, Sharia law, or they were enforced Sharia cops or something, and they would enforce it and like tell women, cover your head, and do crazy shit like that. Like, yeah, that is an issue, and that should be spoken about. But then you have the morons on Fox News, they can't help themselves since they're stupid. They have to come in and go way too far with it and make shit up. And then they end up totally delegitimizing a concern that is a concern for liberals and progressive people in Europe. And they find a way to make the whole thing a mockery because they go too far and they make shit up and they're wrong.